cannot change me. Switching me around and rearrange me. Get destroyed, the heart now to aim me. I came too far to let them rock me back to sleep. At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's all the other way. I can't do it on my own. 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 At times I wanna run away, so sick and tired of doing things my way. I just wanna know there's a brighter day. Nothing's ever the same, it's all the other way. I can't do it, Lord, I need you. My own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own. I can't do it, Lord, I need my own.
I can imagine living without you, holding this book, thinking about you. So much on how to, I'm better than this. Looking the back, I'm ducking the past, demons are back. I'm holding the bag, there's no going back. I'm gripping it hard, I'm looking at T. We focus on living, spiritual healing, I wanna feel it. She with the vision, we washing our garments, soon to be busy. We want deliverance, last call, the sky splitting. Watch it repeat. I want a life without no ceilings. I want a block that do not fear me. I want a bump so that they hear me come. Riding around that New Jerusalem. Ride with me, ride out. Ride with me. That's right, that's right. Ride with me. Ride around we go. Ride around now. Ride around we go.
Mr. Israel, bring that fire out.
They screaming peace when there ain't no peace. Israel prophesying in the streets. Look at me, the center of attention. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. Coming with a vengeance. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. They screaming peace, it ain't no peace. We prophesying in the streets. We seeking peace in the streets of Babylon. Branderson, Glock 40, tucking heat like a carry-on. Sinning against the fathers, got us sleeping, not napping on. Christ the King revealed, this aerial phenomenon. Kick it against the pricks, lose your soul when that fire come. We purify better than gold, got my Bible on. And that's all that I know, where in Babylon. Don't fall, watch it blow, ayy. Switching it up, the nation's gon' drink it. I'm talking the cup, don't care what you thinking. Believe in the gospel, God is thinking. The fires of heaven gon' gather for dinner. The ear of the flesh, the wicked, the sinner. Your mama, your sister, your daddy, your cousin can get their issue. If they mind, they don't repent. They screaming peace when there ain't no peace. Israel prophesying in the streets. Look at me, the center of attention. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. Coming with a vengeance. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. They screaming peace, it ain't no peace. We prophesying in the streets.
IUICC, we in the streets with it. Beasts with it, with the kings and the priests with it. My people sleeping, got them dreaming in the sheets with it. So we spit that holy fire, bringing heat with it. We out here fighting for better days. Most sins make better slaves. Gotta come together on the 7th day. Lose 11 and I levitate. 1 plus 11 heaven gates. 12 tribes, no reprobates. Kingdom come, I can never wait. But the patient saints never separate. Christ coming back with a legion of them angels. Picture perfect prophecies, trying to find my angle. Hung up from a tree and they watch his body dangle. So the vengeance of the Lord coming down, you in danger.
They screaming peace when there ain't no peace. Israel prophesying in the streets. Look at me, the center of attention. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. Coming with a vengeance. Black Messiah in the streets.
Golden wedges of Ophir. Look at here, we the prophets of the Most High, the only God I fear. Killing your career as a Christian, shed a tear. Jesus take the wheel, I'ma let the scripture steer. Joseph interpret dreams, but I don't think he could imagine. It's seed in the last days, Jacob told him this would happen.
And we letting loose, we some loose cannon. Patient saints on the scene, and this kingdom we commanded. Purple and gold, no LeBron James. With King Christ, we gon' see better days. Now you not free cause you got money, you a slave. The Most High on his throne, beholding all thy ways. They screaming peace when there ain't no peace. Israel prophesying in the streets. Look at me, the center of attention. Black Messiah, coming with a vengeance. Coming with a vengeance. Black Messiah, coming with a vengeance. They screaming peace, it ain't no peace. Sheesh. Yeah. My people going to war. We bringing out the fire. Those heathens we ignore. Cause we know that they're liars. I'm reading in the we reading in the they reading in the
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ, bless Israel. Welcome back. You are tuned into In the Scripts.
Reloaded.
Hey, and you back to one of the livest shows in Israel, man.
That's
where
right.
We bring everything going on in the world today, in the news media, wherever it might be going down. We bring it to you with understanding straight from the Scriptures, thus the name.
That's
In the
right.
Scripts, all right? To my right, who I got?
Officer Lavi.
Oh, I'm Officer Yakub. Who I got to my right?
Officer Lavi.
Officer Lavi to my left.
Officer Shema.
To my right.
Officer Kashaw.
To my left.
Officer Jacob.
Officer Jacob. All praise. This is the crew. We missing a couple of people. Of course, Cap is not here, so that goes without saying that we missing him. But then we've got
Officer
Kareem. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that brother's stomach, man.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
been
what's
going around. It's been going around.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that brother's stomach, man. And then we got light-skinned Jacob.
LSJ.
LSJ is out. So we're going to miss you, brothers, man, but we're going to try to bring it in the best way that we know how.
That's right.
As everybody can see by the title of the show, tonight's show is titled Mob Spirited, the Murderous Mafia Mindset. We're going to deal with gangs, right? So leadership has dealt with music. Leadership constantly deals with the roles of women, the roles of men, marriage, what else? History, right? Like our hidden history. We've got Deuteronomy 28.
It ain't no topic that leadership ain't touched on.
Yeah. It's nothing. And so we know what we've been into for the last couple of months, right?
Right.
So we're gonna deal with gangs, but we're gonna deal with where the history of gangs in America comes from.
Bring it out.
Bring it out.
And I think a lot of people might be a bit surprised as to where gang culture, just like rap culture, comes from. So we're going to touch on that tonight, man. We're going to deal with gangs because we got a lot of brothers and sisters that's caught up in gang activity. And for the most part, we don't even realize why the hell we caught up in none of that type of stuff. We're going to look at the definition of gang, what is a gang, and we're going to try to just figure it out. We're going to try to unravel it, and we're going to do it with the scriptures. That's right. All right, so first up, we got the word gang. Let's look at the definition of the word gang, and let's see what they define it as.
This is gang, definition 1. An organized group of criminals.
So an organized group of criminals. So that means anybody, 2 or more people that are organized to do criminal activity could be called a gang. Go ahead.
A group of young people involved in petty crime or violence.
So now a group of young people, and read it again.
A group of young people involved in petty crime or violence.
So you know how we see videos of kids running in the mall and they do the grab and dash, right? So that could be called a gang. So, you know, this is here so that we don't get so offended when we see terms being used, right? Because everybody gets caught up on the thing, well, why you got to call our kids gangsters or why are they in a gang? because we have to understand the definitions that we were given in this bastardized language that we speak called English. This is a gang. So if 2 or 3 young folks are involved in a petty crime or some form of violence, then the term gang can be applied to them here in America in English, right? Keep reading.
A group of people, especially young people, who regularly associate together.
So a group of young people who regularly associate together. So that's why it used to be a thing, I know, in our time.
That's what I was just about to ask. Has it always been gang, or did they?
Yeah, so in our time, it really was a heavy thing where if you had 3 black dudes in a car riding together, right, you might have just left a football game. You headed to the school dance, and if a cop pull you over, he looking at you like you gang members.
Right.
And they treat you like you gang members. It's 3 high school kids in a car headed to a dance, and they treat you like a gang member. This is why. Because anytime that we are together in a group, right, and notice that read that informal again.
Informal. A group of people, especially young people, who regularly associate together.
There's no violence or any form of crime committed in that. So informally, you can be called a gang if 2 or more are together and y'all regularly associate together.
Y'all can be cousins.
Y'all could be cousins, but y'all are called a gang.
Called a gang. Yeah.
And you got to think about it. In the slang term, right, we it used to be on Fat Albert. If y'all remember, I know you remember Fat Albert.
I remember
You
Fat Albert.
Okay, all right. So in Fat Albert's song, they called themselves a gang in the song, right? Loving on each other while we do our thing, nah, nah. Well, in that song, when you get in the lyrics before that,
Hey.
yeah, they say, with me and all the gang, loving. So the term gang can be used informal just to say it's a group of us that would regularly hang out together, right?
But it's always a negative connotation when it's talking about us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Always.
When they end up on
Always.
the news, it's negative.
We never
Right.
get the benefit of the doubt. Oh, these is friends hanging out, or these just
Right.
brothers, or you know.
These is
Right,
criminals.
Right.
These is what Hillary Clinton call them?
Oh, super predators.
Super predators.
Yeah. It is a negative connotation.
Right.
This is all to help comfort the mind because, again, when we just understand the words, then we can control our spirit or our emotion towards what they're saying, right? If you got a bunch of ones in your pocket, what do you say you got?
Some money, some dollars, some bills.
Some bills.
I got a gang of cash.
You got a gang of cash.
Okay.
I got a gang of cash. So in order to help, you know what I'm saying, in order to help deal with what we hear, now I'm not saying that they're not accusing us because like you say, every time they use gang with us, it is a negative connotation.
Right.
But I just want to show what they say gang is because we're going to have to apply it in a few places throughout the rest of the show. All right? So that's informal. Bring up the next one for me for gang. Because I want to show you some gangs.
Okay.
Bring it out.
Only the highlighted one.
Gang. Of a number of people joined together, typically in order to intimidate someone.
So a gang can be a number of people joined together, typically in order to intimidate somebody.
It was just a gang trying to intimidate our brother Kyrie.
Wow.
They put a gang of buses.
They pulled up in a gang of buses.
With a gang of small hats.
With a gang of small hats.
Right.
A gang of curls.
In Dandruff. Yeah.
Right.
A gang of dandruff.
And what did Bishop say with a gang of danger?
With a gang of danger. Right. So understand something. When you hear us speaking about this group of people that is acting in the fashion that they're acting against our people for whatever particular reason, they are a gang according to their definitions.
Right.
So you can't say that we're slandering you when we say that the ADL or the JDL or the SPLC or any of these organizations are gangs. See, our thing is to tear all of this down. This is a gang. Right. So what we saw that was about to happen, when you saw them 8 people sitting in that front row at that game, and they all had the same shirt and were all there in one mind for the same reason, to harass Kyrie,
To intimidate them.
to intimidate Kyrie, that was a gang, sitting on the sideline.
Doing gang activity.
Right.
Doing gang activity.
With their friends.
I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
That's a gang.
Yep.
So what makes them think that we should not fear in the way that they say that they're fearful of us? What? because we're so-called black, we just are adapted to gang life or something? No, not at all. So our job is to show today the mob-spirited, murderous mafia mindset of these red Amalekite Israeli people.
Hey,
Right.
officer, you said something. That Esau really do think we all come from just straight, gang lifestyle. Like we just adapted to it. It was an Edomite at my job. She said, she was talking about Colin Kaepernick for whatever reason. And she said, I just don't agree with him. So, like him and where he came from, I just don't respect it. And she said, but if it was you, because you came from nothing. I'm like, damn. I'm like, you don't even know. I'm like, you don't even, old ass white lady, you don't even know me. I came from nothing.
She say she just see po spirit on you, bro.
Yes.
Damn.
I don't know what it is.
Damn.
But yeah,
I think we come from, gang life.
So let's jump in. Let's look at the history of gangs in America. So this whole show, we going into the history of gangs in America. And we're gonna deal with our folks too. We're gonna deal with our folks too. Because there's something that has to be realized from our people, all right? So let's play this first video, man, this first video. And we're only gonna play, remember that first timestamp up to 105. Let's see what some of the early gangs in America looked like. And let's pay attention to the dates. Let it play. Make sure the volume is up, y'all. Now you gotta start at 0. Oh, here we go. All right. We starting at 0. We're going up to 105. 0 to 105. Okay, I don't see you taking it back. Oh, you got the wrong one up. That's all right. Still do a 0, 105. It's, all right. No, sir. Can you take it back to 0?
Hey, Lobby.
All the way back to 0,
Hey,
please.
Officer Lobby. So would you consider what Jerry Jones and his gang, when they was intimidating?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
When they was trying to segregate the schools?
Right.
That's a game.
That was
they
a
were trying
gang,
to
wasn't it?
intimidate the young sister, Rudy.
Yeah, he was trying to intimidate them.
One of the similar words it said was conspire. So they conspired before then
They
to say,
conspired.
we need to go over there and intimidate that sister. So
But
they
he
don't-
said he was just there being curious. Nah, he was part of a gang
Yeah.
to intimidate.
He was in the
Part of
midst
a
of them,
He was
right?
in the midst
Yes.
of it.
Yes,
No matter
absolutely.
what Stephen A. Smith says.
Absolutely. All right, let's let it play.
The Jewish Mob, also known as the Kosher Mafia, is an organization that was founded by Arnold Rothstein, aka The Brain, in the early 1900s when he realized the opportunity in bootlegging liquor during Prohibition. With his main office at Broadway and 49th Street in Manhattan, he was able to accumulate over $10 million, equivalent to $125 million in today's valuation, making him one of the wealthiest gangsters in U.S. history. It wasn't the first time he experienced big money. Growing up, he was the son of wealthy businessman Abraham Rothstein. Since a young age, Arnold developed a gambling habit that led to him allegedly fixing the 1919 World Series. Gambling also led to his death in 1928 when he refused to pay up $320,000 he owed from a high-stakes poker game that he claimed was fixed by the other players. On his deathbed, he refused to help police identify his shooter, telling them in quotes, "You stick to your trade and I'll stick to mine."
Now this is interesting because first, how many of y'all knew that there were Jewish gangs?
Never knew it.
I mean, I ain't know, but the way they move today, they move like gangs.
They move like gangs.
So,
They move like, but understand what he just said. He just showed us that first there was a Jew, or there is, because we're going to talk about the new Jewish mafia. There is a Jewish mafia. This is starting back in the late 1800s. And he was already making he was worth about $10 million, which they're saying is worth about $100 million today, or 125. But honestly, I think it's more because I did the numbers on it. But notice, he didn't come out of a condition where he was a poor kid fighting for his life.
Right.
They're telling you here that he did what he did strictly for the money. He went in, he intimidated people, he gained power, and through gaining of power, he built an organization. And Arnold Rothstein is known as the godfather of organized crime in America. And he's an Amalekite. This is Amalek.
He's Jewish.
So
the people can really understand.
He's Jewish. He's
Jewish.
Yes, he's Jewish. Yes.
Yeah. He ain't no Jew.
Right.
So you say he's the what again?
He is the godfather. They said that he is the founding father of organized crime in America. He's not the first.
So it ain't Tukey.
No, it ain't Tukey.
No, it ain't Tukey. Tukey ain't made no money like these folks make.
So
these
you
folks
say it ain't Rick Ross.
No.
So why is this not common knowledge?
It ain't 50 cents.
Why we have to find out tonight about this type of gang-related activity tonight?
The real answer is because, like Ye said, they own all of the media networks, so they control the narrative.
That's right.
Now, this is not hidden information. All of this is stuff that you can find online. I'm not bringing anything out except for a few things I had to dig for, right? But this is worldwide information, except for when we watch movies. Well, first, who do we all think most mobsters were? Italians, right?
Right.
And then after Italians, there's another group of people that they said were mobsters and gangsters. Y'all know who that was?
Irish.
The Irish.
Right.
Somewhere in there, they fit in the Jewish mob afterwards. But the Jewish mob, Arnold Rothstein is the one who taught all of them how to turn it into criminal enterprises.
And that's probably why you always see it on television glorified.
Yes.
They shooting out with machine guns, killing people, murderers, mobs, and all that, found in trunks, but it's all glorified in America's eyes.
Right.
But the gangs in the hood, it's not glorified.
Right. So we're gonna deal with it. All right, bring up let's go away from this real quick. Let's go to the next one that says Jew and Italian. Jew and Italian, same. There we go. All right, so now this is who he wrote a book called The Last Jewish Mobster. Right? I can't think of his name. If y'all can remember his name, type it in the group.
The Jewish dude.
But yeah. He's Amalek. This is an Amalekite. Watch what he says here in this piece. I got a timestamp on it, right?
Moran Sugarman.
Yeah, what's his name?
Moran Sugarman.
Moran Sugarman. Okay, all right, Moran Sugarman. All right, let that play.
And beating him up and blooding him and so forth, to the extent that the Nazis understood that the Jews were not going to be cakewalk. You're going to walk over them, you're going to abuse them, and so forth and so forth. I want to tell a nice story because I met a nice gentleman over here. Tony, right? Is your first name Tony or what? Huh? Yeah. Your name is Tony. So I'm going to tell a nice story. You're Italian. So be proud of the fact that you're Italian. I'm going to tell good stories about the Italians. We like the Italians. According to Rashi, our great interpreter of the Torah, you people are descendants of us.
Pause.
All right?
Damn. Talking about you people talking to his brother.
Wait a minute.
The way he lined him up was so cold, though. He was like, I'm gonna
say
some
something
good
nice
stuff about you.
Right.
That was gangster.
So, do we peep? Because what does America love to do when it comes to Jewish people? What do Jewish people love to do when it comes to other Edomites?
They like to try to separate themselves.
They love to say that they not the same people. Run this again. Let's play it again. Let's see. It didn't come out of our mouth.
Damn. Only thing
Myron Sugarman
only thing
said
good
this.
he got to say about you is you come from him. Damn.
And interpreter of the Torah, you people are descendants of us. All right?
Hold
I
on.
like
He said
Pastor
the
Israel.
interpreter of the Torah.
He said the Torah.
Out of
so
the
it coming out
Torah.
the Bible.
Yes. Out of the Bible, their rabbis teach them that them and the Italians are the same race of people. They know that they the same race of people.
Right.
Hey, Yaku, didn't Whoopi Goldberg get in trouble for making a similar assertion? You know,
Whoopi Goldberg is black, bro. She can't say what they say.
Dang, you're right.
We can't say what they say on television.
right.
But she got
They
millions
get
of
punished.
dollars. She got
True.
millions of dollars.
Doesn't matter. She's black.
Damn.
Yeah. All right, play the next clip behind this. So he just told us that at minimum, Jewish or Amalekite people are the same race as the Edomites in Italy. Interesting.
That is.
Yeah, let it play.
You have a different approach. You have a different persona as opposed to somebody's. You know, I always ask the very famous question. You know, Jews tell me, "Oh, I'm Jewish. Okay, very good. You're Jewish." So I say to them, "Good. Tell me what's the name of the mother and father of Jesus Christ?" "Oh, that's easy. Joseph and Mary." "That's very good. 50% there." "What's the name of the mother and father of Moses?" "Who?" Come on, we don't know our own history, our own religion, our own heritage. And this is the most important thing. So if we have this, everything else sort of takes care of itself by itself. Rabbits and Bluma, did I answer your question? Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, Rabbi David. Make sure it's a religious question, will you? Because you look like a religious guy.
He said Jewish people don't know their history. They don't know their history. So it's something that we were talking about even last week, right? Mm-hmm. How a lot of those, they're so used to living a privileged life because of all that their forefathers have done, that these younger ones, you go to them and ask, who is the father of Moses and who is Moses' parents? And they don't know. They know who the parents of Jesus Christ are, and they don't even believe in Christ. But they're supposed to be Cohen, but they don't know who the parents of Moses are.
The hell is this?
Amram and Jochebed is the mother. So Amram is his father, a Levite. His mother's name was Jochebed. They were both Levites.
It was both Levites.
Yeah.
Can we get the color of Moses, officers?
Let's get the color of Moses. Let's get the color of Moses.
Go to Exodus 4 and 6. Matter of fact, go to Exodus 4 and 16.
Did he look like this dude?
4 and 14.
Officer Shema, did he look like this dude?
Nah, he don't look like him at all. He don't look like Sugarman. Go to Exodus 4 and 14.
He got sugar in his tank.
Because Moses had a brother as well. That was a Levite named Aaron. So if they was brothers, we'll read that. Exodus 4 and 14 real quick, and we're going to go to Exodus 4 and 6.
The book of Exodus, chapter 4 and verse 14. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother?
So that means Moses and Aaron is brothers. That's all I wanted out of that. Now jump to Exodus 4 and 6. Read down to verse 7.
Verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom.
So now the Most High is telling Moses to put his hand inside his bosom, right? Mm-hmm. Read.
And he put his hand into his bosom.
And Moses did so. Read.
And when he took it out.
Now he took it out. Now Moses is taking his hand out of his bosom. Read.
Behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
Look, Moses, your hand is white. Look. Read.
And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again.
Now put it back in there.
And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
As his other flesh. Go to Genesis 2 and 7. Let's see what color his other flesh was. Well, because Sugarman,
we know it wasn't leprous.
It was not leprous.
It was not leprous.
Genesis 2 and start at verse 6.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 6. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
So that mist turned into mud, and the Most High started forming man out of mud. What color is mud? Is it white or is it black?
Black.
The Most High formed man from the dust of the ground. The first man was black. Moses and Aaron, the Levites, was black.
That's right.
And these folks got caught in a lie again.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, Numbers 26, I think 58, 59 is you can read, about the Levites, and then it comes down and it tells you Moses' father and mother's name, and it tells you they're the parents of Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, who was turned leprous for speaking against her brother.
Right.
Leprous. They would turn white. So I don't know.
And that was a punishment.
That was a punishment being turned white. Right.
So that's the curse.
Right. Yes.
Right.
That's the real
So the black skin ain't the curse.
Right.
Can somebody tell Sammy Sosa that, please?
Man, look.
He what you call that? What Sammy Sosa in that racial?
He's racial idolatry. He's
racial
idolatry.
Yeah. Right. So this is a mobster, a Jewish mafia or mob member, and he's saying that they are the same group of people, right? We're going to touch on that more. All right, cool. Now, let's go to the next one. Let's see the name of the article that we're about to dig into, because I want to show you a gang in modern times. What is the name of that? Show me can I get the front of the article to see the picture that's on it? Is that possible or no? All right, cool. That works for me. So right now, this is something from the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, right? And, you think they are unified in the sense that if they do something great, they all gonna stand for each other. If they do something wrong, they still gonna stand for each other. They might say, hey, blah, 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 but they ain't never gonna turn their back on each other. Right. So, they have a designation on here, but it means nothing because this group does a lot of stuff, and we're gonna show that. All right, let's go, let's dig into that piece where the article is, what we wanna touch on. Give me that first. Now, the name of the group that we're looking at is called the Jewish Defense League, or the JDL. We want to check out the JDL because the JDL, like the ADL, actually are both gangs. By definition, these are gangs, right? I say the ADL because we just saw what the ADL did, right? What's his name? Greenblatt? I forgot his first name. Greenblatt from the ADL, the one that's been speaking out the whole time. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So Greenblatt from the ADL, the chairman or CEO, whatever they call him, chairman, I think, was speaking out, and he was telling a story about how Adidas acted too slowly in breaking their relationship with with Ye. And he had to go to them and basically let them know, until y'all do what it is we want y'all to do, we gonna blast y'all every day in the media and in every way that we can until y'all fold to what we want you to fold to.
Intimidation.
He even brought up, I believe when I read about it, he brought up the origins of Adidas, how it was started by two Nazi party members.
Right. That was them that spread that. Right? So let's look at this. This is the Jewish Defense League. Let's read about that.
Its inception was part of the white backlash surrounding the New York City Teachers Union strikes of 1968.
So they were out protesting for teachers union in New York. But it wasn't for everybody. It was for their people, right? This is in 1968. Now, this is interesting because we were in the streets in 1968 too. But we were being torn down. And for some reason, they were able to just kind of blend in, and you don't hear their name kicked out much, but they still function at high levels.
Right.
When a lot of the groups that were fighting for our rights, and I mean for basic human rights, you know what I'm saying, have been destroyed and moved on. Go ahead.
The strikes brought to the surface racial tension between the predominantly Jewish teachers union and black residents who were seeking greater control over their neighborhood schools.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait.
So black people was trying to control their own schools?
Right.
And they got backlash for this?
They got backlash for it.
What the hell is this?
So there would be some kind of connection between this and then the Jewish forefather, the one that said we don't want them being teachers, men of
the
learning.
General Education Board, 1901.
So this is 50 years, 60 years later.
It all ties together.
Wow.
So the General Education Board was started by Rockefeller. If you go and look them up, or you look back at the show from last week and the week before, we brought out what was said by them. This is all a continuation. The Jewish Defamation League is in the streets fighting for Jewish teachers against blacks in the community who want control over their education. At the same time that we're in the streets fighting in 1968, what year was Dr. King murdered?
69. Was it 60?
67, 68. Right. At the same time that we were fighting for our rights, there was somebody that was coming against us saying, no, we don't want you to be free. Put two and two together, y'all. A gang is a group of people that are together for the purpose of intimidating other people.
That's right.
The JDL is a gang. All right, let's keep reading.
To this day, they doing the same things.
This, coupled with black demands for more civil service jobs, stirred the already hostile racial climate in Manhattan's neighborhoods and led working-class Jews in the outer borough to join the JDL. Kahan, who then wrote for the Jewish Weekly and...
Hold on. Yeah, bring up the next one. An Orthodox periodical. Bring up the next. Yeah, he got it coming. Yep, it starts at an Orthodox periodical.
An Orthodox periodical flooded the tabloids with stories of blacks and Puerto Ricans terrorizing Jews in Manhattan.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Why they throw in Puerto Ricans like that?
Hey, because they under the curses too. Right. Ephraim.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Hey, they say you might as well throw in them
So-
Spanish-speaking niggas too.
Right, yes. Throwing them Spanish-speaking niggas.
So they was able to control the narrative even back then.
They was able to control the narrative because black and Hispanics were fighting for the right to control their children's education in their neighborhoods. The ones who, now where did it say that they live? It said that, go back to the first one. Go back to the other one. Where did it say that they were from?
It wasn't in Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that said Manhattan.
It said an already hostile racial climate in Manhattan's neighborhoods and led working class Jews in the outer boroughs. So these other Jews that joined JDL to fight against black and Hispanics who wanted to control their own education wasn't even living in Manhattan.
Wow.
The hell is this?
And they joined together and made a big ass gang.
Wow.
They became a larger gang,
Like that gang that was in New York.
like the gang of New York.
And you know, in Esau, they understand that they don't even have to be in that city, in that state, but let it be something that Esau understands, like, okay, this will be a ripple effect that'll soon affect us. We need to take some time off. We need to tell our bosses, you know, our boss, our cousin anyway. That's how
Right.
We're gonna go over there and we're gonna have our numbers and we're gonna make them fold.
Right. Right. So let's finish reading that. An Orthodox, just start there again. An Orthodox periodical.
An Orthodox periodical flooded the tabloids with stories of blacks and Puerto Ricans terrorizing Jews in Manhattan.
And they flooded the tabloids with stories. Flooded it. Why? Because they're the ones that influence the entire narrative. Go ahead.
He dispatched JDL units to patrol predominantly Jewish areas, which ultimately led to an ethnic polarization of neighborhoods.
Why would he send JDL patrols to Jewish areas like Negroes was running in the Jewish areas fighting people? It wasn't happening. It was not happening. So this is the narrative that they're building. We're looking at gang activity, right? All right, let's go out of this.
They was demonizing Northern and Southern Kingdom. They was demonizing them.
They were demonizing Northern and Southern Kingdom. So now let's see. This is who we're talking about. This is who was the one who started this whole thing. And not only did he do this in America, but let's see how far his reach was. Go ahead.
This is Martin David Kahan. Was an American-born Israeli ordained Orthodox rabbi.
He was a what?
Ordained Orthodox rabbi.
He's supposed to be a priest.
The hell is this?
Of the Torah. Wow.
Gangster.
He's an ordained Orthodox rabbi?
Ordained gangster.
Yeah.
But this is what he's doing. Lying, stealing, threatening.
And
I don't know. I swear that there's laws against all of this.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know the Torah. Maybe what we've been reading this whole time.
You don't know Hebrew. You don't know the real Hebrew.
I don't know Hebrew. There it is. Yeah, we don't know Hebrew. That's the
Bearing false witness.
Right. Bearing false witness must not be a law.
Right.
Go ahead.
Writer and ultra-nationalist politician who served one term in Israel's Knesset before later being convicted of acts of terrorism.
Wait a minute. He was convicted for acts of terrorism? And he's the teacher.
The rabbi.
Ordained.
Can I go to the Bible?
Go to the Bible.
Let's go to the Bible.
Let's go to the Bible.
Since they so-called rabbis, let's see what's in the Torah. Read, let's go to Exodus 23 and verse 2.
Bring it
This
out.
is the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil.
You see that? The Bible says, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. The gangs, this dude, what's his name? Martin David Kahan, he is evil. And the people that's following him is evil as well.
Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
After many to rest judgment. That's a gang.
Right.
Gang banging.
Right. Hey, read verse 3.
Verse 3. Neither shalt thou shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause.
Wow.
Wow. So the poor people who just wanted their kids' education to be better and wanted control over it, y'all countenance them in that. The Exodus, if I'm not mistaken, the first 5 books of the Bible given to Moses, written by Moses, and are called the Torah. And I almost thought that that's what they say that they base their life on, their belief system.
It's very anti-Torah, wasn't it?
Read verse 1.
Verse 1. Thou shalt not raise a false report.
So that false report was they had to get patrol to stop the blacks and the Puerto Ricans from coming in their neighborhoods, terrorizing them.
Wow.
You might as well keep reading.
They believe that in the Talmud, they say stuff like that, though.
Yes, they do. They do. This is a mob spirit. This is where gang mentality began. This is a mob spirit. And we're going to show you more. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. All right? So that's the Jewish Defense League. Now, let's come out of it, because ever since all of this happened, right, now we've got organizations that actually look at and measure the things pertaining to gangs and so forth here in America. Let's go to the one that says National Youth Gang Survey Analysis. National Youth Gang Survey Analysis. No, not that. Yep, there we go. There we go. All right. We could start at the top, but no, let's just go to the second, defining gang. Let's go to that, defining gang.
Defining gang. There is no widely or universally accepted definition of a gang among law enforcement agencies.
So now that shows why our people seem to always fall on the more harsh side of the word gang. That's why we needed to read the actual definition, but we see here that it says that there is, among law enforcement agencies, there is no widely or universally accepted definition of gang. So that means they can apply it how they want to whom they want to.
Right.
That's why if you get 3 black teenagers in a car, that's a gang. These are gang members. But if you get 3 Edomite gang, I said gang members because that's what it is. If you get 3 Edomite teenagers in a car, oh, that's not a gang. These are just teenagers.
Jolly old pals.
Right. Yeah. This is why Jerry Jones and a mob in 1957, I think it was,
gang member,
could be standing at a school arguing, ready to beat the brakes off of 2 young so-called black men trying to get an education.
Right.
And you wouldn't call them a gang, but the 2 black boys, if they called 2 more black boys in and fight against the 50, that was a gang that came and had a fight with our children.
And that was straight intimidation. Trying to desegregate the school.
The police department got a gang unit.
Has a gang unit.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not looked at as a gang.
Right.
They looked at as protection from the gang.
Right.
And if it's not, like this thing is saying, they don't have an exact definition or a widely accepted definition, that means they just telling them, hey, it is whatever you want it to be.
It is what you want it to be. Exactly. Now, I want you to go down. You see where it says respondents?
Yep.
All right. Read that.
Respondents are requested to exclude motorcycle gangs.
Wait a minute.
What?
So they get to exclude, and it has the word gang behind it.
What?
Wow.
But they can exclude that. So y'all remember down in Austin, about 4 or 5 years ago?
Twin Peaks.
At Twin Peaks.
What happened?
Remember.
And they murdered some people. How many people got shot down there?
It was almost hundreds. I can't really remember. It was
Right.
lots.
Motorcycle gangs?
Lots.
It was motorcycle gangs came into Austin. They were rivals. They got in
It went
a
down.
major fight down at Twin Peaks in Austin. And, bro, they swept that thing up under the rug so quick. You didn't hear about all the indictments. I don't know if nobody went to jail.
I'm assuming these were Edomites?
They were Edomites.
Definitely.
Edomite gangs.
Or
Definitely.
white people for
Yes.
people that don't
Motorcycle gangs.
Right. But they said exclude motorcycle gangs because typically when you came back from World War II was when you really started seeing the what quote unquote motorcycle Hell's Angels and all of those guys. You saw black guys gather up, but that you didn't see us piling up to cause harm to nobody. We rode motorcycles just enjoying it. But they say, yeah, don't call them gangs though. And these guys is running around stabbing people, robbing, doing all types of stuff. But they said exclude them though. Exclude them from your thoughts of gangs. So motorcycle gangs, go ahead.
Motorcycle gangs, hate or ideology groups.
So the KKK can't be called a gang.
prison gangs,
and
exclusively adult gangs from survey responses, since these latter groups are characteristically distinct from youth gangs.
So if you're an adult piled up and you're walking through Virginia with tiki torches saying the Jews will not replace us, they will not call you a gang.
Come on, man.
Especially not on Fox News. They're not going to call
Right.
you.
They will not call you a gang. However, this is what they're defined as by definition.
Right.
That is a gang. That is gang activity, and they are doing gang violence. They are committing gang acts against people, and namely against us and our people, all 12 tribes, no matter where they go. They have been gangs.
So out of curiosity, what did they call when the nation's capital got stormed? What did they call that group of people?
They didn't call. They call them. Did they even call them? They call them insurgents. They gave them a nice little
Nice
fluffy
name.
word, insurgents.
Right.
Yes, they did not call them a gang.
Not thugs, gangsters, treasonous, whatever. Man.
Right.
That was gang activity. Somebody got shot. Didn't somebody get killed that day?
Yes.
Killed some people.
Yes.
Some
They
law
did.
enforcement.
A few people.
Yeah.
It was actually domestic terrorism. That's exactly,
exactly
what it was.
Yeah.
Like the founder,
Insurrection to
like
the
the
fullest.
founder of the ADL or the JDL.
Yes.
Terrorism.
That's exactly what it was. Okay, let's go down real quick. Let's scroll down where it says defining gangs and designating gang membership. I want you to click on the second one, designating gang membership. Designating gang membership. And let's read that.
Designating gang membership. Respondents provided information regarding criteria used to designate individuals as gang members in their jurisdictions. For larger and smaller cities and suburban counties, a majority of agencies emphasize the display of gang symbols compared with other criteria. Arrested or associates with known gang members, self-nomination identified by a reliable source, and identifying and documenting individuals as gang members in their jurisdictions.
So this is why in the suburbs it's very heavy to see our children. Remember when the little sister got thrown to the ground, wrestled to the ground, and the knee in her back at McKinney? They said it was, remember what they called them? They called them a gang.
Right, at a pool party.
At a pool party.
Dang. Straight gang activity.
Straight
Pool
gang
party
activity.
in the summertime.
Yes. What was you
No,
gonna
no, I was listening to you. I was just going to say it was at the pool party. I remember that.
Right. So now let's go. So go to read the next one.
Rural counties are less likely than larger and smaller cities and suburban counties to report using self-nomination in either a custodial or a non-custodial setting, an association with known gang members to designate gang membership.
So who today lives in the rural areas mainly?
Esau.
White people.
So those in the rural areas, we won't call them gangs. We won't do it. But if you're in the suburbs or in the inner city, that's a gang member because look at what you're doing, all right?
The
So
hell is this?
now let's go out of that. Let's go down. Let's go out of that, back out. I want you to go down to demographics and let's touch on race, ethnicity of gang members. Let's back out of that.
And you know what's wild too? As a kid, maybe some adults still do it. Just a little graffiti, art. People like to
go
express
down.
themselves with certain type of art and drawing and stuff like that.
Go down.
What we see a lot in the school system is
says
they
race
have
or
these school
race ethnicity
police
of gang
officers.
members.
They'll take a picture of just like the little graffiti signatures that kids be making. They make some kind of graffiti out of their name. They'll take pictures of that and they'll send it to everybody in the district and say, look out for this symbol. This is a well-known gang around the area.
Right.
Just pushing that into everybody's mind like, oh, you got gang members up in your. So
Right.
even the smallest little situations, teachers will overreact and they'll be like, they feel threatened.
Yes.
That's because they constantly saying gang, gang, gang.
Because they designate it the way they want to. All right, so let's read this. Race ethnicity of gang members.
It says, respondents provided information regarding the race, ethnicity of gang members in their jurisdiction. Law enforcement agencies report a greater percentage of Hispanic, Latino, and African American Black gang members compared with other race and ethnicities.
Wait a minute.
The hell is this?
So because law enforcement can designate it the way they want to, suddenly there's a much larger percentage of Hispanic, Latino, or African American Black gang members compared to any other race. But we were just looking at who the father of organized crime and gangs in America was. We're talking from the 1820s to the 1850s. Gangs started in America. But where were we in 1820 and 1850?
Nah, we was in slavery, officer.
We were slaves.
Yeah, we were slaves.
Ganged up on plantations.
We was
Crazy.
cotton picking gang.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm building up to something. In the second half, we're going to roll. In the second half. But this is what law enforcement says. Let's read the next one.
The most recent figures provided by law enforcement are 46% Hispanic Latino gang members, 35% African American black gang members, more than 11%, you see, more than 11% white gang members, and 7% other race ethnicity of gang members.
Wow. So they don't do nothing.
Hey, officer, you know what? Growing up in the country, right, in the South, right, and when I grew up in Arkansas and I moved to Michigan, but you can have white kids after the football game hanging out at Sonic's. Police never bother them. But us, when we hang out, oh my God, police everywhere. We like, why y'all ain't down there at the Sonic's with the white kids, right?
Right.
We not doing nothing, just having a peaceful good time and, you know, enjoying a soda or something like that or whatever.
They called it loitering. No loitering.
That's what they say.
hell is this?
Have y'all ever seen the movie Higher Learning?
Yeah.
Remember that scene with Ice Cube? Make them, you ain't sending it to them. Basically, he was like saying, they over there ganged up, but you calling us a gang like we got to break up or something.
He said, show me your ID.
Yeah.
Nah, you show me you ID.
Yeah. All right. So let's go down. Let's go down below that chart. Keep going. Race, ethnicity of gang members by area type. Keep going. Yep, right there. Let's read that.
Race, ethnicity of gang members by area type.
Uh-huh.
The race, ethnicity of gang members is compared by area type. Across all area types, the majority of law enforcement agencies report that African American blacks and or Hispanic Latinos individuals predominate among documented gang members.
Wait a minute. Individuals? So this would be why, and God, I hate that I can't remember the young man's name. He was 19 years old. He was leaving a party. It had something to do with a backpack. They picked the boy up, threw him in jail, and the boy stayed in jail for 3 years behind a backpack with no release and no evidence.
They put him in Rikers Island.
Put him in Rikers Island. The boy had all types of mental issues. And when he finally got out, he was out and he lived free for a few years and then he killed himself. Predominant. So even if not in a group, individually, you can be called a gang member, and you're more likely to be a gang member by the law enforcement agencies in these urban cities and in the suburban areas, right? But watch the next one. What does this say?
That was Khalif Browder. By the way.
Khalif Browder. That's his name. Khalif Browder. Hey, appreciate. Who typed that? Somebody typed that in?
No, I just go.
Okay. All praises.
The second bulletin point. Prevalence rates of white gang membership are lowest in larger areas, but significantly higher in smaller areas, where the rate is more than 1.5 times as high.
So they saying in these rural areas that that the gang rate is high. Yeah, because we don't live out there. We can't afford to buy 15, 20. And I'm not saying, but if we lived out there, we would be designated a gang out there if 2 or 3 of us gathered together.
We'll be hanging out with each other.
Right, we be hanging out. So the only reason they saying in rural areas that their gang rates of white people are high is because they the ones that live out there. But if we was out there, they'd be tearing our ass off the bone.
Facts.
We'd be tore off the bone. We can't afford that land. I want some good land. I want to be able to raise some tomatoes and some peas and some wild onions and some chickens. And, I want to be able to do it, but we can't do it.
You'll be called the farm gang. You'll be in the farming gang.
You might be a farm gang. This is true. So we see here how they lay out the demographic for gangs. We saw where gangs started in America, right? Organized crime, because we saw the definition, right? All of this. Okay, let's come out of this. Let's go and look at this next article. Dangerous, growing, yet unnoticed. Dangerous, growing, yet unnoticed.
Dangerous.
Wow. Oh, go ahead.
Dangerous, growing, yet unnoticed. The rise of America's white gangs.
The rise of America's white gangs.
The rise.
Now, what amazes me is, and we're going to dig into the history, but all of the gangs in America started with the Edomites, right? Amalek first, then the Italians, and then the Irish. They've been running here since the 1800s when they flocking in, and then 2, 3, 4 generations down with some education, they become your police chiefs.
Right.
your fire chiefs,
Right.
your politicians, and everybody else.
Board of directors as far as education, all that.
And they constantly pick at and intimidate our people.
Yeah.
So it's not that this is a rise of white gangs. This is a rise of white street gangs again because they looking at them like, how the hell y'all doing that on the streets when all you got to do is fake like you went to college?
Right.
And we'll give you a job.
We telling you,
Get a
y'all ain't
haircut.
banging right. Y'all youngsters don't know how to bang.
Right.
This how we bang.
Yeah, they say
We
get a
bang in the
haircut.
courtroom.
Right.
We bang making these laws.
with these laws in the doctor's office.
So check this out. Being a gang go back further than the 1800s. Because when you read about it, it says intimidation, right?
Right.
Whenever you get the strongest buck and you bring him in front of the rest of the plantation and you whip and tar and feather this man and pull his body apart in front of the rest of the remaining niggas, as the Bible say. I mean, as the
Bible say nigga. Yeah, you right.
as what the thing the book
Willie Lynch?
yeah, the Willie Lynch letter. They brought us out there to do what? Intimidate us.
Intimidate us, 100%.
So when they whipped us, when they strung us up by our neck, they was intimidating us. Those were the slave masters that was doing that.
Right.
They was way back in 1441.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So these are the real gang members. We ain't no gang members.
We ain't no
Alright.
gang members at all.
At all.
Right. Right. Absolutely. All right. So let's start at the let's start at the first paragraph.
White gangs are less covered by the media and less punished. Even though 53% of gang members in Mississippi are white.
Wait a minute.
The hell is this?
They didn't just say in a certain county. They said 53% of gang members in Mississippi are white people.
Oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fight.
But I never see gang violence of white people on TV,
Ever.
even though they're the ones in gangs, meaning they're doing more than the Negroes in Jackson and any place else could ever be doing.
Hey, could it be that they're not terrorizing their own people? Maybe they terrorizing us. You know?
Maybe they terrorizing us. Let's read.
When he was 13, 3 white teenage boys beat Benny Ivy. They aimed for his chest as his back pressed against the wall of his friend's house in Florence, Mississippi. The skinny, blonde adolescent had to show he was tough enough to become a black gangster disciple.
The hell is this?
Dang. What an opening paragraph.
Come on,
That's
now.
crazy.
Ain't none of y'all having flashbacks, y'all. Any of this ever happened to any of y'all?
Say that. I read it, bro. I said, nah, this can't be true, bro. Oh, no, this going on the show. This can't be true.
None of this makes any sense.
Oh, man. We lost rap.
Bruh.
Right.
You got white teenagers beating up a white teenager to join the black gangster disciples.
That sound like Jewish people trying to take an identity of another people. Now you got white gangbangers want to take the identity of black gangbangers.
Right.
What's wrong with these people,
They all
man?
thrown off, ain't they?
Boy, if you don't get
But I'm going to tell you the bigger story. 53% of all gang members in Mississippi are white. So every time you see the news in Mississippi say a black gangster disciple did such and such, or the black gangster disciple group did such and such, it wasn't necessarily a brother.
Wow.
The hell is this?
This was a black gangster, a white black. Oh,
The
gee.
accusers of their people.
Wow.
He was not necessarily a brother. So Mississippi, understand, every time you see gang member on TV, change your mind and do not automatically say black unless they show you that it was a brother.
Hey, Eddie Griffin made a joke about that. He said whenever they do the news and they show like, okay, somebody did a crime, they suspect of a robbery, whatever case is. He said they don't show their face. He's like, oh yeah, that was a white person.
Right.
He said because whenever it was a brother, they thrown on the news, ABC, morning news, on
Kindergarten pictures and everything.
Yep.
A white black gangster disciple. I done heard it all.
Yes. I read the next paragraph, bro.
It was 1989.
Larry Hoover is rolling over in his grave right now.
Right. A black gangster disciple, an Edomite, bro. 3 Edomites jumping another Edomite into the black gangster disciple gang, bro.
Damn.
Well, Larry Hoover's still alive. Go ahead, though. I apologize.
Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
It was 1989, the height of the crack era. and many white kids wanted to join black gangs that did not welcome them. So they initiated each other into homegrown copycat versions.
Jump down to the next paragraph, bro.
Ivy lived in a trailer park, and the thought of wearing the gang's colors, black and blue, made him excited to be part of something beyond his chaotic family. None of them knew the first thing about being in a gang, and yet many kids lusted after it. Even some who lived in nice homes with their families. Ivy says now, others grew up like he did, the child of poor crack and opioid addicts, ripe to be ensnared by a world promising brotherhood, loyalty, and respect. Ivy's future was not in a black organization, however. It was in one of the oldest and largest white gangs in the U.S., the Simon City Royals.
So you see, once he got in, somebody had to pull his coattail and say, hey, what the hell you mean black gangster disciple?
Right.
Bro, we are the Simon City Royals. We not no black gangster disciples.
So you had to bang for real.
Right.
Show you how to bang for
Come
real.
on,
But what
man.
it shows is this is what's in their spirit. This is in their spirit, bro. Because he looked at it and he was just so ready to be a murderous, to be a murderer, to hurt people, to do whatever it took, that he was willing to join whatever gang fed his need to be murderous.
Right.
So he saw and said, yo, these blacks killing blacks, I could do that.
Right.
Sign me up.
Right.
It's easy. We've been doing that. That's easy.
Yeah.
Dang.
So this the new version of the KKK.
Yes, it's the new version of the KKK.
So if you in a black gangster disciple and your so-called Edomite brother, your white brother that's a fellow gang member, he murder a brother, what you saying to him? They ain't saying nothing, huh?
Ain't saying nothing.
Wow.
That's why they said it's less publicized.
Wow.
So now read that last line because this is going to go into the second half of the show.
A lot of us were raised in the pits, and that's where almost all gang life begins, he says.
So almost all gang life begins, he said. So in America, when we come back for the second half, we're going to see how gangs, we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to look at the videos. We're going to build on it and show how gangs in America were established and who established them and how they affected our community, all right?
Officer Yakub, this was checkmate. Yeah. I didn't think you could top last week, but you did it with this one right here. This
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High.
Praise. So we gonna go into black gangs or just gangs in general when we get back?
We're going to go into gangs first, showing where they originated, the buildup of the history, and how it affected our people into today.
All praises.
Yep,
All praises.
yep.
Let's
All right.
hurry up and get back then. Let's
Hey,
go through it.
you were tuned in the script?
Listening to Reloaded.
IUIC Boom Cards are fun, interactive digital activity quiz cards for children ages 2 through 10. Our Boom Cards offer an educational product that is the first of its kind. We have decks in English and Spanish, tailor-made for young Israelites to learn our history and commandments. You can use them in your homeschool classroom and after-school assignments, or even on the go. The intuitive, easy-to-maneuver digital learning features found on our Boom Cards are self-correcting, allowing children to learn without their parents' help. Anytime you have an internet connection, you can fill your child's idle time with profitable and true biblical teaching. You can access IUIC Boom Cards on any mobile device or computer at www.boomlearning.com/author/IUIC. You can also download the Boom Cards app on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, or even on your Kindle. Righteous digital activities and study tools for your children are now available through IUIC Boom Cards.
Dad, it looks more like a military group than anything else, but I'll read what they have.
You said something about it looked like something.
An army.
What make you say that?
Because look, it's like military style.
Why do you support Kyrie?
I'm pretty impressed. I heard it from about a mile away, so I had to come over.
Okay.
How many men?
Your auntie was there where you left. Cousin was there where you left. Brother was there where you left. Sister was there where you left. Father, your mother, your uncle, your auntie, your cousin, your brother, your sister was there where you left. 12 tribes! 12 tribes! 12 tribes!
There's something that was said that has never been done or seen before. Unity of our people. We are the 12 tribes of Israel. Is that right, brothers? We are the Israelites the Bible speaks of. And we will not apologize. We're going to teach this truth come hell or high water. Christ said the gates of hell shall not prevail against us. I want everybody to understand that. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 3, the Lord said, endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Let's hear it. Unity! 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 And we will not ever bow the knee or apologize. So at that, brothers, who's the king? Who's the king? Who's the king? 12 tribes! 12 tribes! 12 tribes! Unity! 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 Who's the king? Who's the king? Who's the king?
With the Feast of Tabernacles just weeks away, IUIC is now presenting Feast of Tabernacles Boom Card Decks. The perfect tool to teach your little prophets and princesses all about the Feast of Tabernacles. These Tabernacles Boom Card Decks are available in both English and Spanish. Grab yours today by visiting www.boomlearning.com/author/IUIC.
men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word, his word, his word, his word.
You're listening to In the Scripts. Reloaded.
All right, all right, all right. We are back for the second half.
We're back.
We are back. Remember, we're going in mob-spirited, the murderous mafia mindset. And right now, what we're going to touch on is the history of gangs in America, basically where organized crime comes from in America, how it was established, and how it has affected our people all the way up until today, all right? So let's jump straight in. Let's start with this first video. So as we were talking earlier, there was a guy, an Amalekite, or a Jewish guy, for those that don't understand what an Amalekite is. There was an Amalekite named Arnold Rothstein, all right? Arnold Rothstein, all right? So mobster and gambler, Mr. Big. So where do we recognize Mr. Big from? Certainly not from Jewish Mafia, but from who?
B.I.G. Well,
B.I.G. Who else? Long before that.
8-Ball, MJG.
8-Ball and MJG.
Oh, yeah, see.
Mr. Big, Mr. Big. They call him Mr. Big, right. Mr. Big. This is who the name Mr. Big came from.
Oh.
From an Amalekite. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, this is a rapper during y'all's time coming up.
Yes.
That he took the name of a Amalekite Jewish
Their
monster.
first biggest hit was called Mr. Big.
Wow.
The biggest hit they put out.
And I'm assuming they probably were
Why it sound like
subsidized
you throwing
by,
shots
by
at the age
Amalek.
group and all.
Yes.
He's
from
on
through
it
these
again.
record
He's
labels.
on
Yes,
it
sir.
again.
No. I just want to know. I just want to know.
Yeah. He
I
don't know. He don't know.
Oh, praise to the Most High.
Y'all can't help that, man. He don't know.
Some of that Kareem creeping out here.
Right.
Y'all can't help, man. Y'all can't help that.
All right. Hey, so read that real quick. Watch what they called him.
The J.P. Morgan of the underworld. Damn.
Wow.
It's banker and master of strategy.
So he was called the J.P. Morgan of the underworld. God, dog. Let it play.
The J.P. Morgan of the underworld, its banker and master of strategy. Meyer Lansky, one of the movers and shakers of the burgeoning national crime syndicate, and who displayed brilliance and cunning himself, observed he had the most remarkable brain. He understood business instinctively, and I am sure that if he had been a legitimate financier, he would have been just as rich as he became with his gambling and the other rackets he ran.
Now that's Meyer
During the
Lansky.
first part of the
Pause real quick. Meyer Lansky, an Amalekite, a Jewish mob guy, right? Public knowledge. Go ahead.
And the other rackets he ran. During the first part of the 20th century and up until his death in 1928, the kingpin of the New York...
Just real quick. Right. Because they was like, they glorifying him what he would have been had he not been doing things on the illegal side.
Right. Well, he was basically just saying he still would have been rich.
Right.
If he had done it on the legal side, he still would have been
still
just as
would've
rich.
been-
Yeah, because how smart he was.
Right. They were trying to say how smart he was, but when it come to so-called blacks and Hispanics, they ain't talking about how smart they was. They calling them criminals and all kind of stuff.
There's a lot of
the hell is this?
crack dope dealers in the hood. That's some smart businessmen. If we want to, if this is what we doing now,
Yeah, but
you know
they
what I
won't
mean?
call them that.
Right.
Yeah.
I see your point.
And one thing I want to say real quick, for them to say that this man had like the most remarkable brain, he would have had to examine the whole matter and say, you know what? it's more profitable for me to do it this way as opposed to the legal way anyway.
Right.
And for him to
If
understand,
he was so smart.
right. Yeah. He probably he understood along that mindset. I'm not gonna get punished for it anyway because
Right.
See, officer, they call
Let's let it play, y'all. Let's let it play. Let's let it play. Yeah, we got a lot to get through in the second half. Go ahead.
Underworld was not a street-tough gangster, but a refined gambler. His name was Arnold Rothstein. He was recognized by many, including Italian and Irish gangsters, as the pioneer big businessman of organized crime in the United States.
Pause.
For 20
So again, the lie that the Italians were greater and more gangster than anybody was just cleared up. It said he was recognized by the Italians and by the Irish, that he was a hell of a gangster, but he never put his hands in no dirt. He paid people to do the dirt for him. He was their banker, so when they needed money to get their stuff started up, they went to him. Amalek has always controlled the money, the media, and the narrative. That's always been their MO.
And kept their hands clean.
To this day.
And they got them small hats on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
businessman of organized crime in the United States. For 20 years, the name Arnold Rothstein symbolized big-time gambling and big-time money. Residents in the Jewish community greeted him as AR, but his business partners and allies referred to him as Mr. Big or Big A. These titles pleased Rothstein, who prided himself in the fact that he was never indicted for the many crimes in which he was involved. His secret? He never became too closely involved in a racket.
This is Amalek.
So when you think of Jewish people, you think of people with the black hats and the black jackets and all. You don't think of mobsters and gangsters and racketeers and stuff of that nature, right?
Right.
But now we're bringing it out.
Yes, it's coming out. It's coming out. And load your scriptures up, because we're gonna have to unload. We're gonna have to unload on all of this to bring the scriptures out to touch it. Let's go to the next video. So that's the intro to who Arnold Rothstein was. It shows that he was not somebody who demographically, as we read earlier, lived in a rough area, was poor, needy. No, he came from a rich family already, but he wanted more than what he was already given from his rich father with a business already established. All right, go ahead. Let the next one play.
His secret? He never became too closely involved in a racket. He had a hands-off policy, usually fronting the money for a scheme. Rothstein's price for being the money man, the financial backer, was 90% of the take. He worked on a handshake, and if the end of
90% of the take.
Wow.
So that means whatever you made, if you went in there and hit a lick for $1 million, he wanted 900,000 of it, and you and whoever went with you had to split down the other 100,000.
The hell is this?
That was his take. Now, if you study and look at I don't want to say it's Talmudic, but they do have. I was reading up on it, and I should have pulled it out to bring it to clarify it. But 90% was a regular thing for them. That's their number for all things that they do. They want 90%. So that's why when you look at the music business, the movie, all of those industries, they rob you and give you the bare minimum. 90% is a very regular number in Amalekite mathematics and business.
That's why they keep the distribution.
Yes.
The whole matter.
That's why.
No.
What was you going to say?
No, I was like, you hear these mob movies, they talk about a VIG. They're going to put a VIG on you, and kind of put me, when you keep hearing about I think it's Sam Rothstein from
Casino, right?
De Niro
This is
on
who
Casino.
Yes.
That was the character they used.
This is what it's established on. But remember, in that movie, they did say that he was a Jew.
Yeah.
Right?
They called him a Jew.
But they made everybody else in the movie Italian. And that's not true, because Meyer Lansky is Amalek. He's a Jewish guy.
Right.
Meyer Lansky and a few others. We'll go through them. Go ahead.
Yakub, this is not new. They always use an assumed name.
Yes, always. Because Lansky is not an Amalekite last name. Go ahead.
was 90% of the take. He worked on a handshake, and if the individual who ran the scheme didn't pay up, Big A had an army of well-paid ruffians, thumbbreakers and gunmen who protected his interest. It was the Roaring 20s and the advent of Prohibition. Rothstein financially backed several New York gangsters, giving them their start in the big leagues of the underworld. These included Jack Legs Diamond, Waxy Gordon, and Oni the Killer Madden. He also helped launch the careers of Frank Costello, Meyer Lansky, Jacob Little Augie Origin, and the future rising star of the syndicate's Murder Incorporated, Louis Lepke Buchalter.
Paul.
These
Murder Inc.
Murder Inc.
Wow.
Do y'all see the tie today?
Yes.
To today?
Yes.
Everything that they did, we emulated in a later time. But the entire culture that we have called rap culture and gang culture comes from this mentality. They laid the blueprint for how we would move in this time.
Bring it out.
They laid the blueprint. But we're the ones that catch the brunt end of it. All right?
The hell is this?
So you heard all of the names. Again, when you go through and you hear these names in movies, again, they're painting the picture like this is all Italian mafia until you start to go and do the research and you realize, wait a minute, these is all Jewish cats. Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy Siegel is Jewish.
Right. Al
Jewish.
Capone.
So they have, there is a book called the Kosher Capones. Because like the Italians have the La Cosa Nostra, they have the Kosher Nostra. It sounds very similar. But there's evidence that I read of some of the Italian gang members actually going through a small town in Italy before coming to America and having their names changed to Italian names and then coming to America as Italians.
That's so Amalek.
Right. So we're still not 100% true if everybody with the Italian name is really Italian because we just heard the mobster on video say what?
They all the same.
That y'all descendants of us.
So we're going to have to just say they the devil.
Yes.
And that just clears it all up.
Right.
Whether they're Italian or Jewish or
synagogue
Irish
of
or whatever. Italian, Russian, or Ukrainian, you're the devil.
Hey, I'll give you one. I'll give you another one. Italian would be who?
The Romans.
The Romans. Who was Herod?
A Roman.
Herod?
No, Herod was
Greek.
He's Idumean.
He's Greek. Or these are the Amalekites. Amalekites and Romans together, again, in one place in America, ruling mob culture.
Greco-Roman.
The Greco-Roman era all over again.
Wow. That's deep. Nothing new
all
under the
over
sun.
again.
Nothing.
The eighth, matter of fact, let's bring that out in Revelations. The eighth is of the seventh. The eighth is, you know what I want? You know what I'm talking about? It's in Revelations. The eighth head is of the seventh, or the eighth that is, but is not. Is that Revelation 11?
Oh, yeah, Revelation 17 and verse 11.
17, that's it, 17, yep. Start at verse number 10.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 10. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
So 5 kings. We know who those 5 are, right? We talk about those 5 kingdoms, or those. Yeah, we talk about those 5. Then we talk about 1 that is fallen, and then 1 that is yet to come. Go ahead.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7.
So pause. Go back to the beginning. And the beast.
And the beast that was.
Pause. That's Rome and Great Britain. That's the beast that was. Go ahead.
And is not.
And is not, meaning they were not yet formed. Go ahead.
Even he is the 8th.
Even he is the 8th. So that 7th beast, which would have been Rome, Great Britain, that but now is not, is when America was formed and became that 8th beast.
Right.
So this is Rome, and this is the Amalekites or the Greek Orthodox, because remember, Greek Orthodox is Jewish. They follow Catholicism as well. You've got some Greek Orthodox, but when you go to Israel, you've got Greek Orthodox that's acting as Amalekites, right? So you've got them in there still keeping that same custom, and they brought all of that to America, doing the same thing again, piled together.
So America, all it is an extension of Rome, and everything is just happening right here in America all over again.
Right. It's all happening over again. Finish reading that.
And is of the 7.
And is of the 7th, meaning it came out of Rome or Great Britain.
And goeth into perdition.
And it's going to be destroyed.
All praise.
We're going to expose this thing. Let's let it play.
It's being destroyed tonight.
That's right. Let it play. Or is that the end of this?
No, some more.
Okay, some more. Go ahead.
Lepke Buchalter.
All right, let's go to the next video. So Lucky Buckhawk. So again, his name was something else. He changed his name even. So it's no different than what most of these guys do when they come over.
Ironic.
They change their names to hide out. Go ahead. The third video. Yeah, mode of operation 2.
Amalek, they think they slick. We just because you change your name don't mean we ain't gonna. The Most High revealing this thing. We
right.
know that. We know that it's y'all. They say,
That's right.
y'all come over as Italians. Y'all come over as Irish. We can't all come over there as all Jewish people. It's gonna look too obvious.
Right.
They said so. Let's mix it up. Let's add some diversity in there.
Because when they were getting kicked out of the whole problem in Germany, I have to bring that out another time. Lord willing, we'll be able to do another show on it and bring out more on it, peel back some more layers. Because when you look at what was happening in Germany, and I'm not about to sit here and go into this whole thing about, Auschwitz and da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
I just want to go into the core of why what happened, right? The reason that it was happening was because they had gotten in there, worked their way into their system, was sitting in high government positions, and was basically lobbying that like they do here, and things were beginning to turn their way in Germany. And the Germans said, nope, this is our land, y'all our brothers, but we ain't having this mess.
Right.
And they shut it down. And there's some crazy stuff going on there too, but that's a whole nother history. All right, go ahead and let that play.
During the second decade of the 20th century, Big A was moving on up. He relocated into New York's entertainment and red light district, known as the Tenderloin,
Where all the
in
hoes
the
is
heart
at.
of Manhattan.
That's where the hose is at, the Tenderloin. Go ahead.
He opened a posh gambling den, gleaning more than $10,000 a week in profits. That's close to $200,000 in today's money. As the decade rolled on, Rothstein was a multi-millionaire, owning numerous nightclubs, gambling resorts, and brothels. In 1990,
If they say $200,000 a week,
$200,000 a week. But did you hear the businesses that he opened up?
brothels, nightclubs,
And gambling spots. Everything that pushes all evil. Give me that in the book of Maccabees. You know what I want? Give me that in the book of Maccabees. Book of Maccabees.
The book of, where we at?
Yep, start at verse number 7.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then he died.
And Alexander was a Greek, right? He was a Macedonian, or what we call Greek. Go ahead.
And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
And let me prove that. Go up to verse 1.
Verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
And that's because Chittim was conquered by the Edomites. All right. So no, the Japheth is not Edom. That is a lie. They used to be in Chittim. They used to be in that land first, but the Edomites conquered it. And so they took over it, they kept the name, and they began to call themselves the people of
Ashkenazis,
Chittim.
right?
Yes, they began to call themselves by that name, all right? Go ahead.
That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
The first over what?
Over Greece.
So Alexander was Greek. Jump that back down to verse 8.
Verse 8. And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
And he had 4 servants. He had, somebody name off the 4?
Cassander,
Ptolemy,
Seleucus,
Lysimachus.
Lysimachus.
These are the 4 that came after him that verse 8 is talking about. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied.
Were what?
Were multiplied.
Lessened.
Were multiplied.
Evils were multiplied, read.
In the earth.
In the earth. So when they came into place, these Amalekites, Edomites by descent, when they came into place, evils were multiplied. So this is why he would be called the organizer of organized crime, the forefather in this country. It's not like it wasn't already going on, but once they got their hands, their claws in it, then they spread it to a much larger rate, and then they began to teach others how to be evil just like them.
Obviously, Yakub is crazy because, like the point that you just made, and it says evils were multiplied in the earth. When you look at Edomites, when they have their organized crimes, they are reaping the benefit of it.
Yes.
200,000. You know,
Yes.
they benefit 200,000. They control the mayors, the governors, so on and so forth. But when you try to envy your oppressor and try to do the same thing that they doing, you just terrorizing your neighborhood.
Right.
You terrorizing your 3 block
Very
square.
small scale.
Yeah. And y'all going to prison.
Right.
Generation after generation.
Right. Let's finish this out.
And brothels. In 1919, his fame grew to behemoth levels. Rothstein, through a middleman, of course, named Abe Attell, a one-time Bantam boxing weight champion, paid 8 Chicago White Sox players to throw the World Series in what has infamously become known as the Chicago Black Sox scandal.
Wow.
Though called to
The
testify
White
in
Sox had
Chicago-
a scandal. They called it Black Sox.
The hell is this?
Black gangster disciples.
Black gangster disciples. Same thing.
What's going on?
Wow.
Same thing, bruh. They
Black
called
Sox.
it the Black Sox scandal.
Wow.
Come on.
It was good when it was the White Sox. Everything was clean. Baseball was
Right.
being American sport. American, now it's Black Sox because y'all threw some racketeering in it.
Yes. Now it's the Black Sox scandal.
Now it's the Black Sox.
Yes. And who do you think ran the media to make sure that these publications went out with Black Sox, these evil back?
Not Amalek.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it might have been. Go ahead.
players to throw the World Series in what has infamously become known as the Chicago Black Sox scandal. Though called to testify in Chicago the next year, Rothstein took the posture of a businessman wrongfully accused. While on the stand, he chastised the grand jury and the city for treating him like a criminal, saying, "Gentlemen, what kind of courtesy is this? What kind of city is this? I came here voluntarily, and what happens? A gang of thugs bar my path with cameras as though I was a notorious person, a criminal even." The grand jury hung its head in shame, and the tongue lashing seemed to work. Big Al was never indicted.
Is that not the same posture that Amalek takes today?
Man,
Whenever
exactly.
you accuse them of anything, that's the
Exactly.
position they take.
The hell is this?
Anything.
We just saw in the ADL that we don't want y'all taking y'all's education system back or taking over y'all education. So hey, let's take some people. Look, man, y'all go and protect these neighborhoods. Hey, media, put it out there that blacks and Puerto Ricans are coming in and they're attacking our people in neighborhoods. It's the same thing. And they said he was never indicted for what he did.
Wow.
Was never indicted. When I watched the full video, a full documentary on this dude, I promise you, it seemed like the exact same story as Cain.
Wow.
Because when he ended up getting killed because he refused to pay for a deal, but because he was so used to swindling people in card games and deals that he never thought he could lose. So when he genuinely lost, he couldn't beat somebody, he refused to pay the dude the money, and the dude had him knocked off.
Wow.
Yes. It's just like that story of Cain. I'm gonna put a mark on you, nobody touch you, and then next thing, here go your grandson or great grandson come through and he knock you off.
This remind me of the movie that Adam Sandler did, one of the last ones, The Jewel.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, yeah. You ain't seen it?
Nah, I ain't seen it.
Man,
Oh,
you got to watch it. You got to
The
watch
Jewel?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
The Jewel. It's called The Jewel.
Something like that.
Yeah, Sacred
He
Jewel.
was a jeweler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amalek.
Yeah.
But on the same.
Kevin Garnett was in the movie.
Yeah. All the Jakes.
Yeah.
All the Jakes got their jewelry from him.
So he was like
no,
Jacob
you know
the
what?
jeweler.
I think
or
I've
whatever.
seen a piece of that. Yeah, I've seen a piece of that. Yeah, you're right. Hey, is this the next one? All right, let's put that next one up.
Smile. Rothstein was always looking for another way to invest the millions of dollars he had gained illegally. So he went into the drug business with Charles Lucky Luciano, a young man he considered to be the brightest of the bright. When the unstable beer baron Dutch Schultz attempted to move in on Jack Diamond's operation, an operation that Mr. Big financially backed, he had his squad of goons kill the Dutchman's best soldiers, and Schultz backed off. He had so much influence in New York's underworld that he was called on to help mediate gang wars between all types of factions, and by this earned another nickname, the Judge. His charge for these services was extremely high. An insider once reported that Rothstein, after settling a turf war, handed the two gang lords an invoice for $500,000. And they paid it out of respect for the man who saved them time and loss of revenue.
You hear that?
J. Robert Nash.
He went in and charged them $500,000, $500 million, just to settle their difference between them, and they paid it to him.
Half a million.
Oh, he said 500,000. Yeah. You're right. $500,000. They paid him $500,000. This is in the 1920s, 1930s, 1920s, because he died in 1928. So this is in the 1920s. They paid him $500,000 to settle a dispute between them, two other guys. But the Amalekites or the Jewish mobsters were under the Italians. Bullshit. I call bullshit. They was under. Come on, man.
Right.
All right. So notice he wasn't making enough money with what he was doing already. So he joined one of his mentees, somebody that he mentored. They call his name Lucky Luciano. He joined into the drug trade. So what do you think now? Drugs are coming in, but what do you think is about to happen to drugs?
Better start selling them. You say,
Well, they already selling them. But what do you think is about to happen? They already selling.
Distributed to the hood.
Nah. We just read it in Maccabees.
Oh, it's about to flood everywhere.
He's about to sell more dope. He is the one that made everything larger. Go out of this real quick. Go to the article that I just dropped at the bottom, because I don't think I put it in the. I think I clipped it before I could get there.
If you got the, well, not if he had, Amalek had millions of dollars in the 20s. So with the drugs, him partnered up with Luciano,
Right.
he would have already had a distribution network. So
Right.
that would have allowed him to just flood it.
So let's see where his distribution network was ran through.
Meet America's first drug dealer. Damn. Arnold Rothstein's wild real-life 1920s Sopranos story.
So who was the America's first big drug dealer?
Amalek.
Arnold Rothstein. Arnold Rothstein. So let's go down into this real quick. Let's go down. I got to find the part where it tells you where he brought it through. 1920s. I'm taking too much time. Though. You see where it says it came through? Where he brought the drug route through? Nope. Okay.
Everybody in New York.
Sorry, y'all. I'm jacking it up. I'll just say it. But y'all can go and read this article for yourself so you can see. He ran his drug route through Mexico.
Mexico.
Like how they run drugs today through Mexico?
All his dope routes. So the first major drug routes to come into America from Mexico was started by a Jewish gangster.
Wow.
He is the one that opened America's borders to the dope trade.
Wow.
In the 1920s.
Wow. So you really pulling up the skirt tonight, man. You really,
bruh.
You really are exposing this man for what he really is and what he's really not.
Yes.
Okay?
So
wait, there they go right there. Yeah, they found it.
You see it? There it is. Yep. Let's read.
By staging.
Yeah. Start at where should we start? Yes, just start at the top of it. At
first, the street peddlers had controlled the trade.
Hey, good job, AV. Good job. Appreciate that, y'all. Go ahead.
At first, the street peddlers had controlled the trade, and they got their supply in one of two ways: by staging heists of legal opiates as they were delivered to hospitals, or by ordering in bulk from legal suppliers in Mexico or Canada.
So they opened up, they had legal suppliers. Go ahead.
Under fake company names. In 1922, Congress cracked down on this. Rothstein saw that these small-time crooks were missing the bigger opportunity anyway. This, he concluded, was a task for industrial manufacturing and industrial-scale smuggling. He sent his men to buy in bulk in Europe, where factories could still legally make heroin, shipped it over, and then distributed it into street sellers across New York and beyond. Damn. Wow.
So the first major drug dealer who taught them how to bring it in from out other countries was Arnold Rothstein, the Jewish gangster. So Al Capone and them guys in Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, all of them other gangs that was on, all of them got it through him.
He was the supplier.
Now, there's a movie that came out some years ago. We all watch it, right? We're going to read about it in a minute. But just pay attention. I'm going to go outside the country, and I'm going to find a way to supply the country with the biggest smack shipments that I can find. Y'all know who that is, huh?
Yeah.
Frank.
Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas, yeah.
Nothing new under the sun. But niggas for so long have been down that we begin to look at the attitudes and the activities of our oppressor and chase after it, forgetting that this is the oppressor's system and we'll never get out of it what they got.
Right.
Never get out of it what they got. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. None of them.
But we do, though.
We do, all the time. All the time. All right, let's go back to the videos, y'all. Let's go back to the videos.
That's what's causing our downfall. Because we keep trying to play their game. We just gotta, man, we gotta come back to God. That's the only way we're gonna win. That's the game we supposed to play right here.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Focus on being us, right?
Focus on being us. Let's go ahead.
Earned another nickname, the Judge. His charge for these services was extremely high. An insider once reported that Rothstein, after settling a turf war, handed the two gang lords an invoice for $500,000. And they paid it out of respect for the man who saved them time and loss of revenue. J. Robert Nash writes, he always carried no less than $200,000 in fresh, crisp $1,000 bills. Behind him, protecting AR against...
It's a fresh, crisp $1,000.
I ain't never even seen $1,000 bill, right?
He got $201,000 bills in his pocket.
In his pocket, fresh, crisp.
And they used to have $500 bills, $1,000 bills. Man.
So this is where
Monopoly.
So
no, real life.
So this is where our brothers that be in these entertainment industries like rap, boxing, that's where they get this carrying around duffel bags full of money, just wasting it.
Right here.
But I'm assuming they ain't running around on $200,000. You know.
Nah.
Wow.
But his money was backed by gold.
Wow. Back then, huh?
Hey, let that sink in.
Wow.
Go ahead.
To rob him were several well-armed bodyguards. Rothstein became so rich that he couldn't invest his money fast enough. So he began lending money to politicians, police captains, judges, government officials, anyone who had a position of authority.
Wow.
All the ones that were standing up there with Jerry Jones, he was giving them money. You know what I mean? Those type of, the real gang bangers. Those the real gang bangers right there.
Real gang bangers. So now, when you're looking at what a true gangster and gang member is, this is where it comes from.
Yeah, because if he loaning them money, he basically the puppet master.
Yes.
He basically calling the shots.
Yes.
What laws to pass, this, that, and the third.
Right.
You know, I might be able to respect GD folks or Vice Lord if they had an enterprise such as that. what type of enterprise you see these brothers doing? They robbing each other. They robbing the next block.
Right.
People look like them.
Right. Now, here's what's funny, because this is a theme for them as a people, right? Let me see if I can find. Go ahead and play that next one, and I'm gonna try to find this. I'm gonna try to find this quote so y'all can see where this quote comes from and how deep it runs within them.
Lending money to politicians, police captains, judges, government officials, anyone who had a position of authority. And Rothstein didn't care if they never paid it back. They could work off what they owed him in other ways, with favors. If any of his men had been convicted and sent to prison, he would call on a judge or a politician who owed him money, and the would-be convict would find himself back on the street. In other instances, AR could get indictments quashed and charges against his men dismissed. By 1928, Arnold Rothstein was 46 years old and owned Broadway as well as most of the city. But then something strange happened to the man who had the Midas touch. All of a sudden, he couldn't win. He couldn't win at anything.
It's a dirty game.
Yes.
It's a dirty game.
Yes.
Go to Habakkuk 2, what's that, 2:14? When they say their souls is not upright in them.
Habakkuk 2:4.
2:4. Yeah, read
Bring
that
it
for me.
out.
So that's always been their goal, man, to do evil, wicked stuff because it's in them. You know what I mean? Their souls ain't right. And what we do, we pick up right after them.
Right behind.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, His soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
These folks ain't right. They never been right. Anytime when somebody can put somebody on a slave ship and finance it, you know what I mean, and put insurance on a slave and insurance on a ship, and then once they get off the ship, they're on those same slaves, man, those folks ain't right. Whip you, beat you, rape your people. Come on, man. These folks ain't right.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just they spirits ain't right, bro.
Yeah. At all. Hey, bring up. I just posted that picture in there. So what I want y'all to see is everything that seems so casual. We see it on a day-to-day basis. We hear it in the music. We see it on TV. A lot of us who got caught up in those lifestyles were chasing this behind what they set up as a culture. This is why we teach, and y'all get upset with us when we teaching it and we saying it. We don't have a culture in America. We as Black, Hispanic, and Native American people were given our culture.
Right.
By the devil. So any of y'all that are still falling into this mentality, this covetous, murderous, evil mentality, you are envying the oppressor and a child of Satan. Right. Because it is them that set it up. Plain and simple. Yep. Plain and simple. So this is what Meyer Rothschild said, and this is it in the early 1800s. Read that.
Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws.
He said, let me issue and control a nation's money, and I don't give a damn who's writing the laws. Why? Because we just heard that a man in the 1920s had so much money that he started lending it out to governors, police chiefs, judges, and whoever else would come through because they needed some money for whatever reason. Oh, you need to buy your wife a nice ring? Hey, come to me. I'll give you $10,000. Hey, look, but when Lucky gets locked up, then I'm gonna need you to fix that for me, right? I'm gonna need you to turn the other way when that Valentine's Day hit goes on, right? I'm gonna need you to, I need you to look the other way.
So, and to have to have a mind like that, you're not just waking up and just thinking of something like that.
Right.
You've been planning this for a long time.
Yes.
Let me get the scripture real quick. Micah 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
See, these people, they think on a deeper level than what we be thinking on. They think on how they can be the, like I said earlier, the puppet master.
Right.
And in doing that, they know, okay, the money. The scripture tell you that money is a defense.
Right.
You understand? But we ain't looking at it as a defense.
Right.
We coveted the money because we want the glamour things. We want the cars, the clothes, the women, this, that, and the third. Now they looking for money for a defense when something happens to one of they quote unquote gang members or they loved ones. Hey, get him out of there.
I got you.
Right.
Read that.
This book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity.
The Bible says, woe unto them that devise iniquity. That's why sooner or later, when they said he wasn't winning no more, woe to them.
Right.
Read on.
And work evil upon their beds.
Uh-huh.
When the morning is light, they practice it.
They do what?
They practice it.
And this is what we've been seeing through the whole show. They've been practicing evil because it's what they thinking about all day, every day. Read.
Because it is in the power of their hands.
It's in the power of whose hands?
Their hands.
It's in the power of their hands
That's
to do
right.
wicked. It ain't in the power of the Black and Hispanics' hand to do
That's
wicked.
right.
So stop doing wicked. They can get away with it, but you can't.
We can't.
That's right. Can't do it.
That's right.
Read verse 10 real quick.
Verse 10, Micah 2 and 10.
Uh-huh.
Arise ye and depart.
It said, arise ye and depart. We are not supposed to be envying after these men, Amalek, because we see what kind of world that they set up when they have the power in their hands. Read.
For this is not your rest.
This is not our rest. Why is this not our rest?
Because it is polluted.
Listen, just because this one Amalekite died and they say he ran out of luck, don't mean the men that were under him didn't say, he had a bunch of great ideas. He instilled those things in us. We need to continue on the message that he gave us and teach it to our kids, and our kids' kids.
Right.
And if anybody go against the grain, we already got organizations that's gonna blast them in the media,
That's
blast
right.
them in their neighborhoods.
That's
So this
right.
is not our rest. This land is polluted.
Yes, sir. Hey, so look, let's go out of this real quick. We got 15 minutes, and I got some heavy things I want to pull out. Go out of this. I want you to go down to the link about why do rappers name themselves after Italian gangsters. And notice he just said Italian gangsters on the headline, but when we get in the article, then he's gonna say a little more. But again, they always want to push it on Italians, but we just heard a Jewish gangster say, y'all are our descendants.
Right.
We descend from the same people.
He said, I'm the big homie.
I'm the big homie. That's what he said.
Yeah, the Jewish man.
All right. So we're going to read through this real quick. Why do rappers, this is on Quora, this is a website, people go and ask questions and they answer. I'm going to read through it. Why do rappers name themselves after Italian gangsters, even though some people consider Italian-American rappers wannabe gangsters? All right, let's go down. Aaron Ellis, yeah, to his, yep. What you're describing is a common feature in the subgenre of hip-hop called mafioso rap. So that's where you look at Nas and Biggie and all of them that was going in and they were rapping like
Cool
they
G
were.
rap and all those
Right,
guys.
right.
Mafioso rap.
Like they were mob. Yeah, the firm. There you go. The firm. Exactly.
AZ.
It's because of a subgenre of hip-hop called mafioso rap, which falls under the umbrella of gangster rap. This includes the rappers who tell stories that in some way glorify the lives and lifestyles of organized crime figures. They typically reference or even name themselves after real figures like John Gotti, Yo Gotti, Pablo Escobar, Nas when he was Nas Escobar, George Machine Gun Kelly Barnes, Machine Gun Kelly, Sam Giancana, Cool G Rap as his alias Giancana, and Al Capone, Capone and Noriega.
And you know Cool G Rap know he an Israelite, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
All praise.
Yep. But sometimes it could be a fictional figure, like from the movie Scarface. Tony Scarface Montana influenced Scarface and French Montana, while Alejandro Sosa influenced the name of AZ and others. So remember, AZ, he was the big drug dealer that was in Harlem, the movie Paid in Full. But then also you had AZ, the rapper, rap with Nas, part of the firm, with Foxy Brown.
Sugar Hill, baby.
Sugar, right. And King of New York. Who was that?
Frank White.
Notorious Biggs sometimes called himself Frank White. So why name oneself after an Italian mob boss? There are a few reasons. Image.
Damn.
First thing online is image.
Image.
Because which image has affected our people the most on earth?
White Jesus.
White Jesus.
Damn.
So the reason that they're taking on these names is because the image of these people is stuck in their head as being obtainable to them because they don't know that they're Israelites. They think that they're Americans.
Wow.
They think that they can be just like him, even though everything we see in this country tells us we can't be nothing like them.
So with that image, a spirit came up on them.
With that image, a spirit came upon them. Yes, sir. So image. By assuming the name of a notorious figure, rappers create an image for themselves. So let's go down to the next one. Catchy names. Lucky, Lefty, The Dapper Don, Bugsy, Two Knife, Babyface, Bumpy, Trigger Mike, The Ant, Kid Dropper, Whitey, Legs, Cherries, Pudgy, Squint, Babe. So we want to put ourselves under names like this because it sounds cool. Catchy names. Parallels. Many gangster rappers, especially the guys who have a history with gangs and incarceration, see kindred spirits with Italian mobsters.
Hold on. But
hell is
Amalek
this?
just said he prided himself throughout his whole life. He never went to prison.
Right.
He never got incarcerated. And he said whenever one of his men would go, since he had the other police chiefs, so on and so forth, in their pocket, you got to do a favor for me.
A strong delusion.
So, Jake, what you...
A strong delusion. All right, so let's go out of this. This is the tie. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. This is the tie to how all of this gang and mob culture, this murderous spirit, has now affected us as a people. So not only are we affected through spiritualities, white Jesus, Christianity, Islam, all of these things, but also they have tapped into our covetous spirit and presented things to us and said, see, you've got an opportunity to do the same thing.
You got to be the son of Satan to be able to prosper how they do, and then that same thought, they already figured out a way to work into a plan. We're going to oppress this whole nation of people.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. The devil himself.
Man.
All right, so let's go out of this. Let's go to the next article. It's called The Long Rise and Fast Fall of New York's Black Mafia. Let's see the difference. Let's see the difference. This is how we're affected. So nobody get it twisted. We have been affected by the culture of devils and become devils ourselves.
Learn behavior over here in America.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. If we can keep them in sin, then we stay above them. This is exactly what's going on, and they know it.
That's the precept right there.
Yes.
They got to, in order for them to stay, in that position, they say, hey, we just got to make sure we push sin out to them.
Right.
Man, look at that title. The title said it all.
The long rise and fast fall of New York's black mafia.
The long rise and fast fall. Let's go down.
In 1974, it looked like the Godfather model was fading amid indictments and hits on its leaders and as middle-class white residents poured out of America's inner cities.
So that's where we see they went into rural spots. We poured into the inner cities. So now gang culture is on the rise because they can they can make the definition fit what they want it to fit.
Right.
Go ahead.
That was when Francis A.J. Ianni published Black Mafia, Ethnic Succession and Organized Crime, expanding on the idea at the end of a family business. His anthropological study of a mafia family 2 years earlier, that it was a natural progression in the order of crime that the Italians must weaken and give away to the next wave of aspiring ethnics, just as the Jews and Irish did before them. Jews and Irish.
Right. So now we see they're getting taken down. They're saying somebody got to come behind us. Somebody got to come behind us. Let's see. All right, let's jump down. Scroll down, y'all, to where it says,
Damn, put a brother on there with a damn gun.
And I had actually wrote it on the thing. Where to start.
And nobody took their place. They established what they needed to. They put everybody in place. The board was already set, and they said, okay, let's just, let it work. Let's let it work how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, jump down to where it says there it is.
With all the social change in the country during and after the Vietnam War and all their infighting, the Italians started to lose the neighborhoods they had once run. Old Italian strongholds were being lost in Brooklyn, East Harlem, towns in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and Chicago.
All cities with the highest gang culture in them. The spirit jumped on our people because we had the lust to have what they had. That's the problem with our people. This is the influence and why we see gang culture at the level that it's at, because that spirit was there and it was pressed down on our people. We'll go over and live in their houses and we'll do what they did and we'll have a lifestyle like them, but it didn't work. Keep reading.
They were being overtaken by black gangsters simply because of the number of blacks moving into those neighborhoods. That was going on all through the country, but the black gangsters had no real plan.
Wait a minute.
Damn.
Wait a minute.
Damn.
What?
What is this?
The black gangsters had no real plan.
That's what you just brought out, officer. They think deep. They sit on their beds and plot it out and think 30 and 40 years ahead of time how their gangsterism is going to go into all generations. We just looking to get the Cadillac, the house, and some money in the bank until the day we die. We know we going to die soon because it ain't going to last. So we don't plan it out. Keep reading.
Can I pull a scripture real quick?
Real quick.
Proverbs 29, verse 18. Although this is in wickedness, watch what the Bible say about this, because the Edomite said the black people came in and they didn't have no real plan. At the beginning, it says the rise of a black mobster in a very quick fall, something like that, right?
Yes.
Read
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision,
where there's no plan,
the people perish.
That's it. We can go back to the office.
Yep.
There it is.
That was going on all through the country, but the black gangsters had no real plan, no family long-term goal as to what they were going to do beyond the moment. The black mafia became an ad hoc mob and dealt with everything in the moment. They had no 5-year plan like real successful mobsters like Meyer Lansky,
Jewish,
and Frank Costello,
Italian.
You cannot run a successful organized crime racket without a plan.
Stop trying to do it, dumb
Damn.
nigga. You are not as smart as that. This is what they're mocking our people, because even in evil, they like y'all are still monkeys.
This is an astonishment.
Wow.
This is an astonishment. This is a mob mindset. This is a murderous mafia mindset, but it does not work for us because God did not put this spirit on us.
Right.
This is not what we supposed to be doing. Right. So it's not going to work. So all of those idiots that think if we get our finances together, then we'll be good in America. No, you won't.
Because you ain't got a plan.
Because you ain't got a plan.
And if Amalek,
This is not our rest.
and because Amalek was making millions and millions of dollars 150 years ago, they already got everything covered.
Right.
You cannot make enough money, as we see right now. You can't even make enough money legally, like Kanye, like Ye,
Right.
in order to even change anything. So damn sure ain't gonna do it illegally.
Here's what's crazy though, is they want to look at everything based on finances, right? And then they talk about voting, right? So we see that they had money, they put people in positions and places, they paid them off, and so they got favors and they boomed, right, in the 1920s.
Right.
Also in the 1920s, like we talked about last week, is when they started destroying all of the successful black communities. But we're going to leave that for go back and watch last week. So the same time that they were building up, they were tearing us down, knocking us down, and they were putting in place a lot of evil. We wanted the notoriety that came with the evil, so we began chasing behind it as they were being knocked down in the 70s. But they have been doing this since the 1820s.
Right.
So they have been doing it. So Negroes think that we're going to be able to take money, put people in government, and all in about 10 years? Niggas, you crazy.
They gonna pay off some white politicians.
Right. Most niggas ain't going to pay off child support in 10 years.
Damn.
The hell is they talking about? But anyway, though, jump down to, I want to see this, he should have learned from Nicky Barnes. No, let's jump all the way down. Scroll down.
He should have learned from Nicky Barnes.
Just before it says Pete Hammond. Yeah. It should have said the old timers.
Where you see that at? The old timers understood that probably the most successful black gangster from the old days was Bumpy Johnson. But the black gangsters after him didn't have any continuity. Bumpy Johnson left a hole and no tradition was passed down.
He didn't even pass a tradition down.
Damn.
Why? Because Negroes don't even think that far ahead. To keep this going, let's teach somebody behind us how to do what we did. And thank God. Thank God. I'm not saying that we want to.
Praise it.
Just showing that this is the culture. Now, I want to show y'all something real quick. Go out of this. Click on Jeff Fort before we got to go. I want to show y'all something about Jeff Fort and the Black P Stones. Jeff Fort and the Black P Stone gangsters. All right?
And these black gangsters ain't looking too good compared to
Come
the
on, y'all.
Edomite
Can y'all
gangsters.
find it? Yep. Go down to where it says Blackstone Rangers. Blackstone Rangers. And I want you to read that first line.
Around 1959, Fort and Hairstone formed the Blackstone Rangers gang at St. Charles. The Blackstone Rangers originated as a small youth gang along Blackstone Avenue in the Woodlawn area, assembled to defend themselves against other gangs in the South Side.
So it was started the exact same way, right? Go down to the last sentence in this.
The gang also?
Yes.
The gang also received support from a Presbyterian minister.
Wait. They received support from who?
A Presbyterian minister.
From a Presbyterian minister. Read.
Reverend John Fry, who advised Hairstone and Fort how to manage their organization.
The same thing.
Wow.
It was the Christian church that taught niggas how to be more niggerish.
Damn.
Wow.
Dang.
Not how to clean up their act.
Wow.
Hey, it's so much more that I could bring out, man.
Right.
We not even touching everything.
Hey, we
man.
knew Christianity had to come in somewhere.
Right. Christianity.
Hey, the scriptures tell us to come out of that and don't choose their ways.
That's
so we won't be partakers of that sin.
Man.
You know what I mean?
So for everybody watching, understand, y'all, this culture that we are following is not our culture. Our culture is the Bible.
That's right.
The law, statutes, and commandments that God gave us, all right? Again, the show was mob-spirited, the murderous mafia mindset. It was given to us as a culture by our oppressor, namely the Amalekites or the Jews.